Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Thanks for your patience as we are just a few minutes behind. Welcome. We're going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. Before we continue, just if anyone needs interpretation, we do have interpreters available tonight. So if you do need language interpreters, language access, please raise your hand and a staff member will be able to help you out. Si usted necesita un intérprete en esta tarde, por favor levante la mano y tenemos intérpretes disponibles hoy. We do have interpreters in several different languages, so just make sure you let one of our staff members know, and we'll be sure to help you out with language access today. We're going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. It is Tuesday, October 8th, 2024, our regularly scheduled board meeting. It's 5:05 p.m. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Board colleagues, Dr. Stubblefield, our superintendent, and all of our staff that are present, all of our guests that are present, both in person or online, thanks for joining us today. As we do at every board meeting, we'll read our board norms and protocols. We agree to respect differences of opinions in making decisions for the district, to follow best practices in managing the superintendent and the management of the board itself, to stay on task when conducting business for the district, including while at board meetings, to never surprise the superintendent or each other when conducting official business of the district, to read these norms at the beginning of each board meeting and at board workshops as a reminder of how to conduct our meetings, and to continually self-check to determine if we're following our norms when conducting district business. Again, good afternoon. Thanks for joining us, everybody. With that, Ms. Smith, roll call, please.
Yolanda Clark.
Yolanda Clark, present.
Maxine Drew.
Maxine Drew, present.
Randy Lopez.
Randy Lopez, present.
Robert Milan Jr.
Robert Milan Jr., present.
Wanda Brownlee Page.
Wanda Brownlee Page, present.
Rachel Russell.
Rachel Russell, present.
Dr. Nguyen.
Dr. Nguyen, present.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. Next, I'd entertain a motion to approve tonight's regular agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Are there questions or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Ms. Smith.
Yolanda Clark.
Yolanda Clark, yes.
Maxine Drew.
Maxine Drew, yes.
Randy Lopez.
Randy Lopez, yes.
Robert Milan Jr.
Robert Milan Jr., yes.
Wanda Brownlee Page.
Wanda Brownlee Page, yes.
Rachel Russell.
Rachel Russell, yes.
Dr. Nguyen.
Nguyen, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next board agenda item 2 under awards and recognition. We have a special treat for us tonight. As we continue with the celebration of Hispanic Heritage Month, we have the district's mariachi group that will be performing for us tonight. And we have Ms. Burns with us who will share a little bit about our mariachi group tonight. Welcome, and welcome to all of our students.
Thank you. So this is the mariachi group from Rosedale Middle School. It is a new class that we have actually formed and will be pushed out to other schools next school year. And all but 3 of these students are returning from the mariachi group that was in place last year. So they will be performing 2 songs for you. We also have artwork from around the districts, from McKinley Elementary, Emerson Elementary, JFK Elementary, and then Central Middle School. So you have some sugar skulls up there at the front, and then the artwork in the very back. So thank you.
Great. Thank you so much.
dos, tres.
Thank you to our Rosedale Middle School students. Excellent job performing tonight. We appreciate you being here with us, and to your teachers and staff, thank you, and to your parents, thank you as well. Great job tonight, students. We continue with our agenda board, item 2B, and we have another recognition tonight, and I would invite Crystal Watson, Executive Director of the KCK Foundation for Excellence. And again, congratulations, Ms. Watson, on an excellent breakfast last week. I was expecting a cartwheel or something as you made your way up.
Oh, I can do one if you like.
Congratulations
I won't
again on
do
the
it.
event. Thank you
I
for
won't
being
do
here.
it. Some of the board members might not like that. Good evening to the Board of Education, Dr.
Evening.
Stubblefield, Mr. President, Vice President of the board, and to our attorney and everyone here. Good evening.
Good evening.
So we did have a wonderful breakfast, Partners for Excellence breakfast, our annual. Thank you to all of the staff who were there and administrators, and to our board that was there. We greatly appreciate your presence. You truly made a difference. One of the, we showcased and highlighted different partners, business partners that work with the district, but there was one in particular that had to leave that a little earlier, and that was Hughes Walker Group. We want to acknowledge them. They are the bookkeeping services for the foundation. They have been with us since I've been part of the foundation, since July of 2019. And there was a lot to do with our record keeping, transitioning from the district to the foundation. There was a lot of work that was put into the books themselves, let alone establishing a new reporting system. And here we are 6 years later. At that time, we were not profiting. We are now profiting, and a lot of that has to do with Hughes Walker Group. So at this time, I would like to acknowledge Rochelle Hughes Walker in presenting her a Partners for Excellence 2024 award. And then we just want to do a big, quick shout out to the Communications and Marketing Department. Without Edwin and his team, we would not have been able to accomplish. They were there. Sarah Thacker did a phenomenal job in being our presenter. And then Cameron and Christopher, Marco, Edwin, even Mike, they all have done a fabulous job. They've been a wonderful partner, and so I just want to give a big shout out to them. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Watson. Again, thank you for your leadership. As we know, the foundation does an excellent job and is a great partner and walks hand in hand with the school district. So thank you for all your advocacy and work for our district, our staff, our students. And if you are not a contributor to the foundation, I'd encourage you to contribute and give all the donations that go to the foundation, come back and are reinvested into the school district and into our staff. So if you are not a contributor and you'd like to, please feel free to. Again, thank you, Ms. Watson. Okay, next on our agenda, board, we have community comment. Again, just as a reminder, under policy BCBI, anyone is able to participate and give comment at our board meetings. Just please reach out to Ms. Leslie Smith, our board clerk, no later than noon, the Monday before the board meeting, to sign up. Tonight, board, we're going to go into an executive session for our first comment. So I'd entertain a motion to recess to executive session for 7 minutes, going in at 5:21 to personnel for non-elected personnel, to include Dr. Stubblefield, Mr. Goheen, Dr. Campbell, and Dr. Jones.
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions or discussion? Seeing and hearing none. Ms. Smith.
Yolanda Clark,
Yolanda Clark, yes.
Maxine Drew,
Maxine Drew, yes.
Randy Lopez,
Randy, yes.
Robert Mylan Jr.,
Robert Mylan Jr., yes.
Wanda Brownlee Page,
Wanda Brownlee Page, yes.
Rachel Russell,
Rachel Russell, yes.
Dr. Nguyen.
Dr. Nguyen, yes.
Thank you.
Ms. Clark, I will send you a Zoom link right now to your email.
Marlin Jr., Wanda Brownlee Page, Rachel Russell,
Rachel Russell, yes.
Dr. Nguyen.
Thank you. We're back in executive session. Board, I'm going to ask if there's a motion to amend tonight's agenda to add an executive session on attorney-client privilege.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Russell, seconded by Mr. Mylan. Questions or discussion? This is this one. Mhm. Yes, and this is just to amend the agenda to be able to add that. Any additional questions? Okay. Ms. Smith, roll call, please.
Yolanda Clark, Maxine Drew, Randy Lopez,
Randy, yes.
Robert Marlin Jr., Wanda Brownlee Page, Rachel Russell,
Rachel Russell, yes.
Dr. Nguyen.
Thank you. I'd now entertain a motion to recess to executive session for attorney-client privilege to include Dr. Stubblefield, Mr. Goheen, Dr. Campbell, Dr. Jones, and Mr. Lilly for 10 minutes, going in at 5:38. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Russell, seconded by Ms. Clark. Questions? Ms. Smith?
Yolanda Clark, Maxine Drew, Randy Lopez,
Randy, yes.
Robert Marlin Jr., Wanda Brownlee Page, Rachel Russell,
Rachel Russell, yes.
Dr. Nguyen. Thank you.
Thank you. Motion to return to open session, please.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Ms. Smith?
Yolanda Clark,
Yolanda Clark, yes.
Maxine Drew,
Maxine Drew, yes.
Randy Lopez,
Randy Lopez, yes.
Robert Mylan Jr.,
Mylan Jr., yes.
Wanda Brownlee Page,
Wanda Brownlee Page, yes.
Rachel Russell,
Rachel Russell.
Dr. Nguyen. Thank you.
Thank you, Board. We are on agenda item number 4, consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any questions or discussion? Seeing and hearing none. Ms. Smith, roll call.
Yolanda Clark,
Yolanda Clark, yes.
Maxine Drew,
Maxine Drew, yes.
Randy Lopez,
Randy, yes.
Robert Mylan Jr.,
Mylan Jr., yes.
Wanda Brownlee Page,
Wanda Brownlee Page, yes.
Rachel Russell,
Rachel Russell, yes.
Dr. Nguyen. Thank you.
Thank you, Board. Next agenda item, Board, is item number 5. These items have come before the Board at least once and are up for potential action if it is so the will of the Board. First agenda item is, it is recommended the Kansas City, Kansas Board of Education approve the new MOU with Cross Lines Community Outreach for $25,000 funded through McKinney-Vento grant as submitted by Tracy Chauvin, Director of Student Support Programs, Dr. Lucero, Executive Director of Student Services and Family Support, Dr. Judith Campbell, Deputy Superintendent, and is recommended by Dr. Anna Stubblefield, Superintendent of Schools.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any questions or discussion on this item? Seeing and hearing none. Ms. Smith, roll call, please.
Yolanda Clark,
Yolanda Clark, yes.
Maxine Drew,
Maxine Drew, yes.
Randy Lopez,
Randy, yes.
Robert Mylan Jr.,
Mylan Jr., yes.
Wanda Brownlee Page,
Wanda Brownlee Page, yes.
Rachel Russell, Dr. Nguyen.
Dr. Nguyen, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Board. Next, item 5B, it's recommended the Kansas City, Kansas Board of Education. Thank you, Ms. Clark. It is recommended the Kansas City, Kansas Board of Education approve the new MOU with Hillcrest Ministries for $20,000 funded through McKinney-Vento grant as submitted by Ms. Chauvin, Dr. Lucero, Dr. Judith Campbell, Deputy Superintendent, and is recommended by Dr. Anna Stubblefield, Superintendent of Schools.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions or discussion, Board? Seeing and hearing none. Ms. Smith, roll call.
Yolanda Clark,
Yolanda Clark, yes.
Maxine Drew,
Maxine Drew, yes.
Randy Lopez,
Randy, yes.
Robert Mylan Jr.,
Mylan Jr., yes.
Wanda Brownlee Page,
Wanda Brownlee Page, yes.
Rachel Russell,
Rachel Russell, yes.
Dr. Nguyen.
Dr. Nguyen, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Board. Next agenda item 5C. It is recommended the Kansas City, Kansas Board of Education approve the MOU of $43,250 with Rob Hola Vaping Edition funded by the Jewel Settlement as submitted by Ms. Chauvin, Dr. Lucero, Dr. Judith Campbell, and is recommended by Dr. Anna Stubblefield.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Are there questions or discussion, Board?
Yeah, I have a question.
Ms. Brownlee Page.
I see that they're going to do a district-wide campaign using poster, social media, mailers. Will there be in-person meetings? I see where it just says parent information rights, but really get out and get the information out and get parents involved.
Hi, Ms. Wanda Brownlee Page.
Okay.
So, great question. So what I hear you asking is, how are we going to do the in-person parent involvement? So yes, we're starting with the mailers. Part of that is in listening to the feedback and hearing the feedback from what the community has said around our enough is enough information, that when they come to us and come to events, we're handing them a lot of stuff at once. We're handing them stuff around fentanyl, around enough is enough, around this, around that. So one, we want to update all those resources and also hear that they said mail us stuff. So we want to do that, so we specifically put mailers in there. The second piece of it is targeting specific subgroups. So we're going to be working with the Multilingual Education and Services Department because they have some specific parent groups who have said we want to hear about Juuls and vaping, and we're going to host in-person parent nights specific for them. And we're currently researching and looking for high-impact, reputable speakers that will actually present in Spanish. And so we're doing that in terms of the in-person parents. We're also working with the McKinney-Vento program to target that parent group as well because they've expressed interest. And then from there, we're also going to partner with community organizations and our high schools and our schools to go to their events they're already hosting, to have information there and be able to do that, versus saying, let's have one separate event. We want to capture parents where they're already at and go to them versus saying, you need to come to us for specific events. So an example for that would be like last semester when we worked with the Health Services Department for their health resource fair to say, hey, we also want to host a fentanyl event. Within that, we're going to continue to do that so that we're embedding all of the information into naturally occurring events that will have a high volume of parents.
Okay. Well, I just saw the parent information, right? I just wanted us to do more and to really reach out to all the different organizations that exist.
Yeah.
And churches and community centers and places like that.
So part of what we do on that Enough is Enough Community Wellness Subcommittee is exactly what you're speaking of. We have a collaborative of roughly 30 community stakeholders that do not have to be parents, do not have to be like workers in the district, but rather the people you're talking about, our faith leaders, our elected officials, those people, so that we're aware of events happening and can say, here's where we can naturally partner with them. So we are in the process of doing that. We started that community wellness subcommittee last spring, so that is a little bit newer, and you guys haven't heard as much about it.
Okay. Thank you.
No, thank you. What other wonderings or questions?
Additional questions? Thank you, Ms. Brownlee-Page and Ms. Chauvin. Additional questions on this item? Not, there is a motion and a second on this item. If there are no further questions, Ms. Smith, roll call.
Yolanda Clark,
Yolanda Clark, yes.
Maxine Drew,
Maxine Drew, yes.
Randy Lopez,
Randy, yes?
Robert Mylan Jr.,
Allen Jr., yes.
Wanda Brownlee Page,
Wanda Brownlee Page, yes.
Rachel Russell,
Rachel Russell, yes.
Dr. Nguyen.
Dr. Nguyen, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Board. Next item, item 5D. It's recommended Kansas City, Kansas Board of Education approve the solution tree proposal in the amount of $120,000 paid by TASN MTSS as submitted by Dr. Fernandez Flores, Dr. Judith Campbell, and Dr. Anna Stubblefield.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Are there questions on this item? And there was a question around if this is a renewal or if this is a new contract.
It's not a new contract, but what's different about the agreement is previously it was paid for out of ESSER. TASN is paying for it, and it's with some specific schools, so that's why it's on like updates instead of consent, because those things change.
So my question is around the service dates on this current document, say October 1, 2023 to November 3rd, November 30th, 2024. So do we have an updated contract that says October 1, 2024? Because all of the things in the this agreement, the last service.
So if you look at the, we have started presenting like the previous contract and the new contract. The first one shows you the October 11th, 2024. The 2024 is on the document, the first attachment that says our solution tree agreement.
That's the previous contract, the first one?
The first one is the current one. It says effective October 3rd, 2024
To 2025.
to 2025.
You? Ms. Brownlee-Page?
Yeah, you don't have to tell me now, because I didn't ask it, but can you remind me who else in the metropolitan area is using this system?
Professional learning communities, I think every district in the metropolitan area uses professional learning communities as a model for looking at data, reviewing data, team meetings.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Additional questions on this item?
In future, this will just be a consent item? This won't be or will it? I guess that's where I think I'm confused. This is an ongoing service we plan to use but because you're changing the funder, that's why it came this part?
It was the funder, and when we were doing it through ESSER, all of our schools were doing it. It's a limited amount of schools, but that's why in the future, if this stays the same, it would be on the consent. But when something, like when the funding source changed, we were just making sure that it wasn't on consent because some things did change.
I have a general question that doesn't need to be answered tonight since I didn't share it with you earlier, just as I was reviewing this question around, and it might just be a refresher for me, around MTSS and how I know that's interwoven through our strategic plan and throughout our departments. Curious, like, in the past, we used to have a director of MTSS, and then when that position went away, part of it was so that it would be integrated within all departments, and it's kind of owned and worked through by all departments. Just curious about how that work is being integrated and what that's looking like, and I guess just an update on the interrelationships and alignment of MTSS throughout the departments, and making sure that that's still in alignment with our KISA plan and our strategic plan. So
It is, and anytime that we're giving updates on the academic report or all of it, the tiered interventions for our students, that's what MTSS is not like a separate system. It addresses academic, social, emotional, and behavior. So when we're talking about like tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, anytime we're talking about interventions, when you're like, who's getting I-ready or 95%, all of that is a part of MTSS, but I can work with our team to provide like an overall summary of the different tiers for the different components.
thank you. Additional, I'm sorry.
I wasn't going to piggyback, but I think what has happened a little bit is our intentionality on the front end has then, as we're saying, oh, this is a part all mixed into the cake, that not all pieces are equally mixed into the cake. So some folks are really focused on academic success because they want to make sure that their scores are better or that they're proving they're doing, and not that that's wrong, but then we're also forgetting some of the other pieces. If I understand, yes, we want it all to be a part of the cake, but then I think there has to continue to be some intentionality around some of those other system work pieces of the whole tiered approach. So I would also appreciate an update on that, so.
Thank you. Additional questions or comments? Seeing or hearing none, there's a motion and a second on the floor. Ms. Smith, roll call, please.
Yolanda Clark,
Yolanda Clark, yes.
Maxine Drew,
Maxine Drew, yes.
Randy Lopez,
Randy, yes?
Robert Marlin Jr.,
Robert Miller Jr., yes.
Wanda Brownlee Page,
Wanda Brownlee Page, yes.
Rachel Russell,
Rachel Russell, yes.
Dr. Nguyen.
Dr. Nguyen, yes.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Thank you. Board, we are on item 6A. Board, this is new information, new business. It is not up for any action tonight, just information. In case there are questions, you can ask tonight or ask throughout the week. Just send your questions to Dr. Stubblefield. This is the informational item for the purchase from Midwest Bus Sales of 320 passenger buses, each equipped with 3 wheelchair spaces for a total cost of $434,178. and 371 passenger conventional buses for a total of $440,265. The amount combined of $874,443 paid out of capital outlay. Are there any questions on this item tonight?
It's a question that doesn't have to be answered tonight, but if you know the answer. We aren't currently renting any buses. Okay. I want to be clear, if we're purchasing things, we're purchasing what we need and we're not renting anything. Okay, thank you.
For those who could not see Mr. Martin, the answer is no, we are not renting anything, as he was shaking his head in the back. Thank you. Additional questions on this item, Board? Okay, thank you,
Well,
Board. I'm sorry, Ms. Brownlee Page.
How often will we renew the buses? I mean, how is it set up, the rotation?
Mr. Miguel is going to come share. Mr. Martin, I'm sorry, I called you. I called you by your first. Just Miguel. Miguel.
Good evening, everyone. So how often we rotate our buses? First off, we have a list of buses that every 25 years that go out of service that we first go through, and those are the ones that we try to identify, so we have a one-for-one. And then we also have the equipment that the cost of repair and maintaining the vehicles, that it won't pass the highway patrol inspection that every bus has to pass there in July. We have those that we identify, and then those are the ones that we try to replace. So that number of buses changes year to year based on the number of buses we're trying to out-service, and then also to what funding we have available as a district.
And the old ones, what do we do with those?
So those we go through and we sell those. So we usually list those either on Purple Wave or on Gov Deals, where we go through and auction those buses out with their purchase. And sometimes you may see them on a future show like tiny homes and different things on down the road. But yes, we sell those vehicles.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I just wanted to clarify that you said none of the buses on the road are older than 25 years old.
Correct. That is a reg that if it wouldn't pass, we wouldn't be certified to be able to utilize those buses for this school year.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, one more question.
Yes.
Now, at one point, you had brought up the electric buses. Are we gonna try to do that? And
So we are still exploring consideration on moving forward with electric buses. It's a lot of things that we've learned over the years, especially talking to some of the districts here in the state of Kansas, mainly out in the rural areas, who were awarded those buses on that first go-around, that the cost to maintain and additional equipment that was needed, that, of course, we have winters here that other areas don't have. So additional equipment that they've had to add to that infrastructure to expand that battery life was additional cost that wasn't anticipated. So making sure that we're trying to get all the information possible so we can make a sound decision about moving forward.
And what about hybrid buses? Would
So-
we ever try that, to use both?
So we do have 3 hybrid buses in our fleets right now, 401 to 403. It hasn't been as cost efficient on maintaining those and then when you look at, and not to expand too far on emission standards and things, but the diesel clean air requirements on the diesel bus now, the air that goes into the engine and the air that comes out is actually cleaner than what went in. So the emission standards that are required by OEMs when it comes to building equipment, the greenhouse effect and everything else when it comes to our diesel equipment is the same as everything else that you would pursue out there.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Additional questions? I'll just share a quick comment for Dr. Stubblefield, Mr. Martin, the board. I was recently in a meeting with some folks from the World Cup committee and the chair of that committee, and I know they spoke about transportation, that is an area that they're still trying to work through and that they're contacting or looking at potentially school districts, because some school districts own their buses. And so just, I don't know if anyone has reached out or to us or has talked to us about that at all.
They have, and what we shared was we currently don't have any policy on that, and we would have to work with our board to see if that was something that they were open to entertaining. They are willing to pay what it costs. So I initially asked Greg to look into what in other areas when that's happened, what's happened. So that's where we are. They did reach out to us as well. They're reaching out to all of the school districts and bus companies because of our transportation infrastructure and the number of people who will descend on this area in the summer of 2026 is millions.
Yep. Thank you. Ms. Russell?
So I was just going to say with that thought, I don't know when the timeline for when you and Greg will have that information back to us to make an informed decision. But I also, when I think about supporting our staff and knowing that our bus drivers are a category of folks who talk about the summers not having routes or seniority playing a role in that, how that could be an incentive for our staff. And so I just am thinking of how can we get feedback from our bus drivers to say, hey, if we explored this, would this, be something that you all are interested in doing? Because we can say yes, but if the people doing it say no, the people with the CDLs and the ones who know how to drive the buses are like, heck no, I don't want to deal with crowds, I don't want to do this, then it would be not useful. So maybe that's something you all discuss, is how you get that feedback, because everyone's talking about how we prepare. So just a thought. Thank you.
We'll do that.
Thank you, Ms. Russell. No questions or comments? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Martin.
Thank you.
All right, board, next, agenda item 7A. Tonight, we have a report from our Nutritional Services Department, and I'm not sure if Ms. Favreau is online with us tonight. Does not appear to.
Is she online? Yes, she is.
She is, okay.
Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, Dr. Stubblefield. Let me turn on my camera real quick. Good evening, Dr. Stubblefield, Mr. Randy Lopez, and board. Unfortunately, my house is riddled with COVID, so I'm going to be doing this online. I apologize for not being there in person. I will be turning off my camera during the board presentation, but please stop me anytime for questions. Can everyone see the screen?
Yes.
Oh, fantastic. So good evening. I will be presenting the Operational Nutritional Services Board Report for school year 24 and 25. This is the Nutritional Services organizational chart. We have a larger department in the district. We have about 245 employees, and each of our buildings have a kitchen manager. And our newly added team member is Chef Gabrielle Rogers. She replaced Chef Jean Loiseau. Nutritional services focus for 24-25 is student-centered. After all, good nutrition and consistent nutrition is vital for students' readiness to learn. Nutritional services acts in accordance with all aspects of KCKPS foundational structures. We participate in multiple programs throughout the school year to ensure that our students and our local communities are fed. During the school year, the main programs we focus on is called SNP, and under that program, we have the school breakfast program, the National School Lunch Program, and the after-school snack program. We also provide suppers through the KCKPS program. And during the school year, especially at our elementary sites, we offer another new program called the Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program. I absolutely love this program. It introduces new vegetables and fruits, and it helps increase participation in our elementary sites. We have all our elementary sites participating except Noble Prentice, and that's just building administrators selection. And then we also have non-state and federal revenue generating programs like a la carte options, snack bars, adult meals. We have ameliorated catering and concessions, so updated concessions. That's a new option that we provide. And of course, we have Cafe 500 at the central office. Other services we provide are share tables and also meal modifications and special diets. We do simple diets as simple as celiac, all the way up to dysphagia diets, or any diets where students are allergic to all 8 super allergens and also seed oils. So we do it all. This is just a quick recap of what we served last school year. We served about 4.6 million meals and over 47,000 snacks during school year 23-24. Average daily meal participation is about 7,900 for breakfast. Lunch is about 1,300. Supper 490, and snacks about 256. And just to remind you that participation goes hand in hand of all the revenue we generate through federal and state reimbursements. So as I mentioned, school nutrition is highly regulated. Our governing body is the USDA. School sponsors must meet all the USDA regulations, policies, and obviously other modulated guidance from the state to receive state and federal reimbursements. So these reimbursable meals, and I'll go through reimbursement rates for our district. Reimbursable meal, in order for us to receive that reimbursement, we need to have that right balance of fruits, vegetables, low-fat, fat-free milk, whole grains, and lean protein. And each state, we are also state and federally mandated to have certain guidelines to regulate certain calorie intake, sodium intake, added sugar, saturated fat, trans fat, and meat other meal components. I want to take a quick peek at menu and service. We have really tried to shift and focus on a student-centered initiative. Student feedback is very, very important to us. We have surveys at secondary sites that students can take through a QR code, and at elementary sites, we have like a sad and happy face that we do. Menus are crafted based on direct input from students. We also collaborate with the Superintendent's Student Advisory Council for input on menu options and choices. It is also very important to me to have celebrate diversity through meals that reflect cultural inclusivity and engage all students. We also have special event menus, for instance, for fall and winter. We have celebration menus to honestly honor students' achievements and create a festive environment. We also focus on the National School Breakfast Week and Lunch Week. We have very interactive events, fun activities, prizes for the students to enhance student participation. Just a quick look at the meal service model for breakfast. Secondary sites, all secondary sites have breakfast in the cafeteria, traditional hot style breakfast. We are planning to implement a secondary terminal, a grab and go terminal, especially at the bus lines starting January to increase participation. As I mentioned, that it correlates with participation and reimbursement. Meal accountability, students will pick up cards at the front of the line and drop off at the end. We also do meet KCKPS foundational structure section by offering second chance breakfast, and second chance breakfast is open to all 1 hour after the first period bell. And breakfast at elementary sites, all elementary sites have grab and go breakfast, all K through 5. And we also have family style breakfast, breakfast in the classroom options available for Head Start and pre-K students, and that's based on building leader discretion. We also have second chance breakfast available for all elementary sites except Head Start and pre-K students, because they have a different style meal service model requirement. For the younger kids, we do not do any cards in the morning, we do tally sheets. Okay, meal service models for lunch at secondary sites. We've listened to our students. We have 2 hot entrees, and this school year we've introduced 3 cold grab and go entrees, which includes a daily salad, like a sandwich box, and a lunch bowl option. We are very proud to offer unlimited vegetables and fruits sides to our students. However, all these sides must be consumed within the cafeteria. Share tables are also available at each locations, and for meal accountability, students pick up the card at the front of the line and drop it off at the end. Meal service model lunch for elementary sites. They have one hot entree, one cold entree, and this is just based on kitchen capacity and smaller kitchens at elementary sites. They do have we are planning to introduce a snack bar option starting the second semester, so starting January. And then we also have share tables. And for lunch at elementary sites, students will pick up cards and drop them off at the end of the line. A little bit on nutritional services finance. We do not rely on general funds to pay for labor or food, any of that. So we need to make sure that we have a break-even goal when it comes to state and federal revenue. Expenditures are mostly labor, food, supplies, equipment and parts, software and technology, and other. When I mention other, it's usually technical services. In terms of revenue, we have federal revenue, state revenue, revenue that we generate from a la carte services, snack bar services, adult meals, catering, concessions, and grants. Audits and accountability. We have annual KSDA audits through the count day audit, summer school audit, and then the state verification audit. And every 3 years, KSDE conducts the administrative review, and this year is our turn again to have that administrative review. And we also have biannual audits at all sites through Kansas Department of Agriculture in terms of health inspections. As I mentioned, I want to bring up the reimbursement rates. As you all know, Kansas City, Kansas Public School, we are proudly CEP. That means all our kids can eat for free. This is year 2 being CEP, and the rates of reimbursements are based on directly certified students, and that could be SNAP, TANF, homeless, runaway, migrant. So 91.74% of our meals are reimbursed at the free rate. And if you look, the free rate for lunch is $4.69, and for breakfast is $2.84. And then 8.26% of other meals are reimbursed at the paid rate, which is 59 cents. And we have to ensure that all these costs are covered when in terms of not only the meal, but also the supplies, labor, and other external operating costs. Okay, so like I mentioned, year 2 of district-wide community eligibility provision, all kids eat for free. We are very proud of that. So instead of the free and reduced application, households are actually expected to submit a household economic survey for the district to continue to receive funding for educational programs. This school year, Nutritional Services processed 10,557 directly certified students and about 4,001 household economic surveys, physical copies. So we've noticed an improvement from last year. Last year we had I want to say about 12.96% of incomplete forms. This year, we only had 11% of incomplete forms. I just wanted to include this slide about student payments. Students may purchase a la carte or non-program foods only with a positive balance. So secondary sites, students could purchase a second entree, a snack bar snack, milk or juice. At elementary site, students have the option to purchase the additional milk or juice. It is the responsibility of the parents or guardian to ensure that the students can participate in non-program foods. However, a regular reimbursable meal will be served to all students regardless of their account balance. And a little bit more procedure on how they can do that through My Payments Plus, cash or check. We do have a procedure if notifying families of their account status, weekly phone calls, email alerts, all verbal reminders. Adult meals. Gratis meals are only allowable for teachers participating in family-style meals, breakfast in the classroom, and in Head Start and pre-K programs. All other adults are required to pay for breakfast and lunch. Adult meal cost is $5 now, and due to popular demand, we've decided to kind of break that $5 if an adult only wants an entree only or a side only. We also have that option this school year. And we expect all adults to have a positive balance or cash on hand to purchase a meal. Special diets, I just wanted to include the procedure. USDA Regulation 7 CFR Part 15B requires substitutions or modifications in school meals for children whose disabilities restrict diets. A child with a disability must be provided substitution in foods that need supported by a signed statement from a licensed MD, DO, or RD. And we have this procedure already posted in district website. Keeping up with technology, we've also have a mobile menu app through KCKPS. So this offers an easy way to view menus and nutrient information right from your smartphone. So you can look at menu allergens, what's on the menu. You can make online payments and learn more about Nutritional Services web link and see pictures about school lunch. That is all I have. I have my contact information if there's any questions, but I'm happy to take any questions if you have any.
Thank you, Ms. Favreau, for joining us tonight. Board, I'll open the floor for any questions tonight after the presentation. Ms. Brownlee-Page and then Ms. Russell.
Okay, first question. For breakfast, what's the cutoff point? Because I've heard from some parents, if the kids are late, then they can't get the breakfast. And then I also know they're only allowed to keep stuff for so long, and it's discarded. And if they're late coming and we know they're not punctual, we need to make sure the kids are fed. So what's the cutoff time? Or will they feed them? Because some of the parents are saying they're not being fed.
Absolutely. We feed all students breakfast. That's why we follow KESA foundational structure of second chance breakfast for students who are somehow come to school after that first school bell. We have breakfast open 1 hour after the first period bell.
I guess my follow-up question to that is how is attendance recognized when students are not going to class directly? Because I think that there's like two caveats, because we're saying people can go get breakfast, but then we are also counting students against it. And, and I think we have heard from multiple of the same people.
Sure. Great question. Students have to report to, we have a pass called Second Chance Breakfast Pass. Each school has 10 passes. So students coming in late, they need to go directly to the building office, get that pass to come into the cafeteria. We won't serve students unless they have that Second Chance Breakfast Pass, especially if they're after the breakfast period.
And you're saying that's elementary through high school?
Elementary through high school. That's our process.
Yeah, and if that's not happening, if you can tell us which schools it's not happening, we can follow up. But
She said 1 hour. They only had 1 hour. What if I'm 2 hours late?
then it's almost lunchtime. A lot of the schools start lunch, especially at the secondary, it's right at 11. So depending on when they get there, because they have to, at some point, stop serving breakfast in order to prepare for lunch. And several of the schools run multiple lunch shifts. So like, I was at an elementary the other day, and I think they said they go from 11 to 1:05. School starts at 9 o'clock at that particular school, or 8:30. So when you think about that, they have to cut it off to prepare for lunch.
Okay, and I get that. But then what about the case? And you tell me if I'm wrong. I got some people saying, well, they throw food away. And I know the law says they can't keep it, but if somebody's hungry and they didn't get there on time and they're still waiting to eat lunch, they can't have that food that they're.
I would say if that is the situation, they really should visit with the principal, because I have not been in one office where there are not snacks or things that, from the principals to the counselors to somebody who have things if students are hungry. So if it's happening at a particular school, if you can let us know, we can
Okay.
follow up. But as far as nutritional services, they follow those particular guidelines. But I also know that a lot of our staff, in particular, if they know that a child did not get breakfast and hungry, they do make sure that they get something.
Okay, and then my other question is, how's the turnover rate? Because we spend a lot of money with Labor Max hiring people to work in the cafeterias. Are we better? Where are we at this point with that?
That is a great question. Our goal is to completely move away from Labor Max. HR and Nutritional Services has partnered to create a sub pool. However, we've found difficulties hiring for this sub pool because it's just hourly rate and they're not receiving benefits. So that's the caveat with that. But we already have 2 people hired into that sub pool already. And the goal is to have 5 people in this sub pool and completely move away from Labor Max. To give you an example, this school year, we have about 7 employees who are on short-term disability starting from August. So that all impacts. It's not necessarily lack of employees or not hiring appropriately, just extenuating circumstances that we cannot help, that people are on short-term disability. As a result, we have to use Labor Max. But the goal is to move away from it eventually.
And if you looked at the vacancy report, that's a part of it currently. Nutritional Services, when this was ran, was fully staffed, and they don't have any true vacancies, but when people are out for extended period of times is when we're using Labor Max, which is why they're trying to build up our own internal sub pool. But for the 214 staff, we hire all of them directly, is when things come up for people personally and they have to be out. I know at one time when I first came, a lot of our
quite a bit.
direct people, but we have moved away from that, but we still have to rely on them for subs at this point.
And then my last question, in terms of professional development, are we doing better? Because we lose a lot of people from nutrition from a lot of foolishness. And some things, to me, could be handled better.
They do receive, Ms., you can speak about the professional development training that it's provided to the nutritional service.
Absolutely, Dr. Stubblefield. So each of our employees, we have back to school training. It's a 3-day training program. Once that's completed throughout the school year, we provide especially during in-service days when students are not in, as long as it's in that 186 schedule for our cafeteria managers and food service assistants. We provide them monthly training as well. In terms of Nutritional Services Central Office, each of us have mandated training hours that we have to adhere to and complete by the USDA.
Ms. Russell.
Yes, I just have a few questions. So based on your org chart, who would be the individuals, and maybe this is not a practice that you have, not scheduled lunch audits, but pop-up lunch audits? Who is the person or who within the organization is just popping up in buildings Because some of the feedback is when they know you all are coming, they have all the bells and whistles out. But when you all are not present, kids aren't getting the ketchup or the barbecue sauce because people don't want to have to do all the extra work. So are pop-up audits or drop-ins something that your team is doing? And have you found that resourceful, or is that something that you guys need to consider? Because when I know the principal's coming to my classroom today, I have it all together. But when the principal ain't here, or I try to, that type of thing. Can you speak to that?
That's a great question too. So we have operational managers for a cluster of buildings, and myself, we make sure, we show up at schools randomly.
Okay.
And if there are any schools that is experiencing
So when
that,
people have complaints,
I would love
where
if you could
do
put those
people,
schools to
where
my
do people
attention so we
send
can
those?
rectify the issue.
Okay, thank you. My second question is around,
I didn't hear what she said on that one.
she said that if they have issues to follow up with her and she'll rectify this, sorry. Not to speak for you. My second question is around the guidelines. So something that has popped up here lately is multiple buildings, whether it be their clubs, sports teams, they're selling non-nutritional valued things. Is there a place where clubs and organizations can get clear information on what can be sold during school hours, or like what processes need to be followed? Because what I'm finding is multiple buildings do it very different. And I think that clarity, if I can't sell this during this time, should just be public information, not something people have to go search and find. Where would one find that information?
Absolutely. So USDA guidelines dictate that any non-program foods or any competitive foods must meet USDA Smart Snack compliancy, and it cannot compete with nutritional services meal times, because that's way we generate revenue. Actually, Dr. Campbell and some other leadership members are meeting up, I believe, sometime next week to kind of get a concise, clear message out to the district.
Okay. Who oversees the vending machine operation for our district? Because would that not, does it or does it not is it not supposed to be in conjunction with said policy that you're mentioning?
It absolutely should, but I believe currently the vending machines at each site is managed by the building leader. I don't want to misspeak. It is not under nutritional services guidelines currently.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Russell. Additional questions?
I guess my question goes back to Dr. Stubblefield, and if you don't have the answer today. So building leaders dictate when vending machines can be on and cannot be on.
It should be following the same guidelines. If they
But
are not.
there would not be a difference. So one building can't say, we have our vending machines on during this time, and another say, oh, we only have ours on after school. That shouldn't be the case?
That could be the case as long as they're not violating the nutritional guidelines. So and we'll give the specifics, but it can't compete, and then there are specific times when you can or can't sell. So as long as they are not violating those, some could say if lunch is over at 10, I'm just giving an example, and they miss that 2-hour window, they can turn it back on. So that portion, they do have some local control around it, but we can we can get some information about what is happening, because they should not be violating the same nutritional guidelines as like clubs and those kind of things.
I guess I'm just saying, I'm looking for consistency versus variety of, this building principal says we can have them on all day, but this building principal says we can only have them on after school for after school things. Like, I just don't understand why people need to control the vending machines. Like, I don't understand it, but
Yeah.
it's a conversation, so.
So building principals do around those kind of things have autonomy because they know their students and their.
I understand that, but I also, for students who talk to each other, it makes it very hard from this seat to tell a student why this high school building can have theirs on from 10 to 12, but this building can't. Like, that, those are the arguments I just don't think should.
No, and I'm not in a disagreement with you. I think what we have to do is level set because there are specific guidelines and some buildings may not be following those. And so those are all the things that we'll look into and follow up. And that's where maybe the inconsistency may lie.
Mr. Lopez?
Yes, Dr. Nguyen.
I never could understand how the students were ordering out, and I don't know if the teachers do as well, but that the security guard is manning the door, taking the orders. So, vending machines, order out, DoorDash, there's a lot of things going on that don't seem to be consistent with this.
Yeah, and we can look into it. I know my first year that was an issue. I haven't heard of the DoorDash and the delivery.
Oh, I've brought this up a couple of times.
This year?
And last year as well.
Oh,
I got an email from, I guess a teacher said something, but no, I've brought this up many times.
If you can resend it to me, I don't recall because
I didn't send a letter to you. I mean, I brought it up in board meeting.
Oh, this is my first time hearing it.
I will say that it sounds like there is a process that has been provided for students to still order food. I don't have anything against it. I think we
Well, let me
just
tell you,
need consistency.
The security guard at the door didn't know the process. She was just running back and forth, answering DoorDash.
Well, it's my understanding everybody drops it off at the door, and then the students can ask for a pass to come down and get it. That was my understanding of what the process for DoorDash is, or Uber, whatever it is.
Uber Eats.
So I think if we can just make sure that
We will
vending and
follow up. I'm
following up on
not aware of.
consistency and process and making sure that it's being consistent.
I'm sure it's not consistent with nutritional value.
Additional
And
questions?
Dr. Stubblefield, if I can make a comment.
Yes.
It's vital for us to continue offering free meals to all students. It is important for us to build that participation and do everything possible we can do to, have palatable, nutritious food to build that participation so we get that state and federal reimbursement rate.
Thank you.
Okay. Additional questions for Ms. Favreau? All right. If you do come up with questions after tonight, please email those to Dr. Stubblefield. Thank you. Board, next agenda item, where we hear from our Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Anna Stubblefield.
Good evening, everyone. I just have a few announcements. First, again, I want to say congratulations to the Foundation of Excellence for the breakfast and recognizing both students, staff, and partners in their continued excellence throughout the district. Today, congratulations to our Diploma Plus team for hosting another successful college fair this year. This year, the event was held at Homefield KC, who was one of our partners that was recognized, in over 90 colleges, universities, and academic organizations were on hand for our students to get information about college, as well as hear about scholarship opportunities and opportunities that are available now through Saturday Academy, the TRIO program, and several others. Thanks to Dr. Fernandez Flores, Dr. Angela Wright, Lisa Martinez, and the entire Diploma Plus team, and volunteers for making this event a success again this year. I had the pleasure of taking the tour of the Empire Candle Company with students from Alfred Fairfax last week. The Career Pathway Student Tours kicked off the celebration of Manufacturing Month in partnership with WIDEC, Kansas Manufacturing Solutions, KCK, CC Community College, and Workforce Partnership. The goal is of the initiatives is to expose our students to incredible and abundant career opportunities that are in the manufacturing sector right here in Wyandotte County. The tour of the Empire Candle Company was amazing, as students were able to see the entire innovative process of how candles were made, packaged, and prepped for delivery. All of our high schools will have students that are touring it. Board, I think you got an invitation to attend some of these. And if you get a chance, I know it looks long, but if you just get a chance, I didn't spend the whole day. I just went through the Empire Candle and they did some other things. But if you get a chance to go see, they do talk to our students. Our students were very engaged, and several are following up about job opportunities. They did share they have a program called FAME, where students will have an opportunity to work 2 days and go to class 3 days. And when they finish the program, they'll have their associate's degree. And the average starting salary is about $65,000 for some of those manufacturing positions. This is just a reminder to mark your calendars for the upcoming Family Advocacy Days. Family Advocacy Days will be October 23rd and 24th. For our families and schools, we sending out information directly, and this is also a reminder that for our students, there's no school this Friday. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Stubblefield. Board, just a few from my end. Just a reminder that we do have a board meeting this Thursday at 3 p.m., so hopefully that is on your calendar. That is 3 p.m., and we will be at Junior Achievement this Thursday, the 10th. Want to give a shout out to Silver City Day Parades and everyone that participated in the Silver City Day Parades. District was well represented. Thank you, Mr. Birch, for helping to organize that, and to all of our staff who helped with that, and the board members who attended. It was a great time to be out in community and seeing our students who participated from the bands to the elementaries who had floats. It was great to see all of our students and families out there. I also want to say thank you to New Stanley Elementary, who invited the board. Ms. Drew and myself were there. Was that yesterday, Ms. Drew? Or early? Yes, yesterday for their Red Card Against Bullying initiative, where they've partnered with Sporting Kansas City and Children's Mercy Hospital to really encourage our kids to put an end and stand up to bullying all around. So it was great. They got to see the mascot Blue and a player, and it was great. And I think they loved the mascot more than they did the player, which was great to see, but they were super excited. So thank you for the invitation, and great job with that partnership at New Stanley. I also want to just acknowledge that earlier today, the ACLU had a press conference on language access and language justice, specifically around elections and making sure that in Wyandotte County election information is available in multiple languages. And it made me think of the great work that we're doing here at the district to make sure that language justice and language access is a priority, and making sure that we have interpreters and translation for the over 60 languages that we provide. So we are well ahead of many of our counterparts in this work. And so just kudos to our leadership team, to this board, to making sure that that was a priority for us, and to all those who help to make sure that we have language justice, equity, and access here in our district. Congratulations to all of our students and staff that are participating in homecoming. It's been some fun weekends. I've been out to some of the football games, and just great to see all of our students and families and staff out there, and student athletes. Thank you for all that you do. So yeah, have fun. Congratulations, and I'm sure it's going to be another fun weekend this weekend. Last one, Judge Martinez and I, Tony Martinez, were out at Argentine Middle School a couple of weeks ago for Hispanic Heritage Month for their assembly, and it was great to just be there with the students to talk about the importance and the history even in Argentine around Hispanic heritage. So that was fun to be there with the students and to see them celebrate as well. So With that, I'll pause and open the floor for any other board members to share.
Well, I'll say, remember November 14th, Ruby Bridges will be in Topeka, and Dr. Stubblefield, you'll get the invitations tomorrow. We get 150 students, and the districts will have to provide transportation and lunch. So looking forward to it. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. And Greg is working on the resolution for the board.
I'm actually emailing it right now, so we'll get there in 2 seconds.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Nguyen. Ms. Drew.
Just to let everyone know that September 25th, several board members met with the Wyandotte County Elected Women Gathering, and we met at MVP Law Firm on September 28th. I went to the annual library in the park at the main library from between the hours of 11 and 3. Attended the NAACP Freedom Fund banquet that evening. And then, as a representative of our school board district, part of the legislative committee with KASB, we had a meeting on October the 1st, and we started looking at the different documents in relation to how KASB is going to present a resolution on federal issues. And so therefore, we met and we had a conference, and we will make sure that the information is presented when you go to the conference in Wichita on November 15th through the 17th. I did attend the Partners for Breakfast, for Excellence breakfast, and I did go with Rachel. We were both there at Arrowhead Middle School for the Hispanic Heritage Month. I did meet online with KASB Legislative Committee because they were updating the documents and for final modifications of the resolution for federal issues. And then again, I did attend the Silver City Parade. On October 18th, Kansas City Mission will be held at Oak Ridge Missionary Baptist Church, and I will be speaking there on the importance of education. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Ms. Drew. Ms. Russell.
I just wanted to echo how busy all of us have been. So I won't list off, as I've been to a lot of the same events, but I also just wanted to remind the board that the Battle of the Bands, or the Marching Band Festival, is next Saturday, October 19th at 3 o'clock at Wyandotte this year. So just wanted each of you to be reminded about that and come out and support our amazing bands. It's always a fun time to see the camaraderie. And if you don't know the Drake song, oh gosh, why did I do that? The Kendrick Lamar, you might want to get yourself ready for that. Listen, I messed that up. So look forward to a fun Saturday. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Russell. Ms. Brownlee Page.
First, I don't know if everyone knew that Aaron Williamson passed. His services will be this weekend, the 12th, at Highland Park Cemetery. So again, we're gaining people and losing people too. And when people give their time and service, I think we need to at least mention something. So we want to keep his family in our prayers. I too went to the Women in Politics Forum. I also went to St. Peter's. They had a political forum for the candidates in this area. And just want to encourage everybody, if you live in Kansas, you have until the 16th to register to vote. And make your vote count. That's important. I also attended the NAACP dinner on the Kansas side as well as the Missouri side. And I attended the Partners in Excellence breakfast. The college fair I thought was phenomenal. I hope they will take advantage. And don't forget that Diploma Plus does have a segment where you can get an associate's. We spend a lot of money with the community college. We just need more people to take advantage of that. If you don't want to pay for 4 years, at least the district has a program that you can get an associate's degree as well as your high school diploma, if that's what you're trying to do to go to college. So if you don't have to pay for 2, and maybe you'll get a scholarship or something else for the last 2 years, we need to take more advantage of that because it's an excellent program. And if you don't want to do that, and you want a VOTEC skill, all of that's available. I don't think we take advantage of it enough, and it's available. So That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Brownlee Page. Anyone else? Okay. If not, Board, we are at item number 9. Would entertain a motion to recess to executive session for consultation with the attorney on matters which would be deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship under COMA, to include Dr. Stubblefield, Mr. Goheen, Dr. Campbell, Mr. Lilly, Dr. Jones, for 15 minutes, going in at 7:01.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions? Ms. Smith?
Yolanda Clark,
Yolanda Clark, yes.
Maxine Drew,
Maxine Drew, yes.
Randy Lopez,
Randy, yes?
Robert Marlin Jr.,
Marlon Jr., yes.
Wanda Brownlee Page,
Wanda Brownlee Page, yes.
Rachel Russell,
Rachel Russell, yes.
Dr. Nguyen.
Dr. Nguyen, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. please? Moved by Ms. Clark, seconded by Ms. Russell. Questions? Ms. Smith?
Yolanda Clark. Maxine Drew. Randy Lopez.
Randy, yes.
Robert Marlin Jr. Wanda Brownlee Page. Rachel Russell. Dr. Nguyen.
Great, thank you. Entertain a motion to recess to executive session for consultation with the attorney on matters which will be deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship under COMA to include Dr. Stubblefield, Mr. Goheen, Dr. Campbell, Dr. Jones, and Mr. Lilly for 10 minutes, going in at 7:18. Moved by Ms. Clark, seconded by Ms. Russell. Questions? Ms. Smith?
Yolanda Clark. Maxine Drew. Randy Lopez.
Randy Lopez, yes.
Robert Marlin Jr. Wanda Brownlee Page. Rachel Russell. Dr. Nguyen. Thank you.
Thank you. return to open session?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Ms. Smith, roll call.
Yolanda Clark,
Yolanda Clark, yes.
Maxine Drew,
Maxine Drew, yes.
Randy Lopez,
Randy, yes?
Robert Marlin Jr., Wanda Brownlee Page, Rachel Russell, Dr. Nguyen.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. With that, board, thank you for a great board meeting, and we will see everyone on Thursday at 3 p.m. at Junior Achievement. With that, this meeting is adjourned. Go Royals.